Happy Monday, everybody. Let's get to it. Let's see how they bounce back. I want to see how the benchmark bounce back. I want to see how I hope they're understanding their importance now. Right now, with a depleted roster, with RJ out and Quickly out and Kelly Olynyk out, and young players having to develop, some guys getting sent to the 905. The bench has to understand how important they are now. Like the first 2-3 games, you gauging, their importance a little bit because we really don't have a starting five. Scotty is trying to figure out what his leadership style is going to be, and we're trying to figure out how they're going to follow him and how that looks, and how Darko can coach and get everybody on the same page day in and day out for the next game. Their significance is really, really more than what we anticipated. Like, we wanted the bench to impact the team and to be a factor, but they're a huge factor right now. Like, we need them more than ever, more than we should at this point, but we don't have a healthy starting five or a healthy lineup as far as the veterans are concerned. So I hope they're gravitating to the concept of we need them more than ever, and we need them more than expected. Even though they can't even conceive and wrap their mind around the severity of the situation, we need them to stay afloat to keep the playoff dream alive. We don't want to be a playing team, and we don't want to miss the playoffs. But we're putting that responsibility, they're the X factor. We need them to impact games. We need them to be the deciding factor. But the fact that it's like they're like the main factor now, because there's but so much a depleted starting five could do, we need their production more than ever. They're averaging 51 points, 20 rebounds, and 13 assists at home as a collective off the bench. They had 29 points, 23 rebounds, and 8 assists in Minnesota. But we chopped the lead down in the third, but then they got on a run, and it just pulled away. It's one of those things where the starting five isn't as potent as we want it to be, because we don't have the lineup that we want right now. And Ochai Agbaji should be coming off the bench. He would be great coming off the bench with this group. But we have him starting. Grady Dick is playing well. Scotty is getting back. Scotty is starting to live up to expectations, but we still don't have RJ and Quickly, which is big. Those are two big factors, important factors. And we got to make up that ground as a collective, and we need the bench to help with that, making up the production that we're losing. We're probably losing, like, with RJ and Quickly out, we might be losing, 60 points? You know what I mean? With their points and their rebound, with their points and their assist production, might be 60 to 65, 66 points a game. Right now, I don't want us to go below 500 or even start a losing streak. You know what I mean? But they're so young. But there's this bliss. You know what I mean? Ignorance is bliss. They're not aware of the complete gravity of the situation. Our playoff hopes are on their shoulders because we don't have the starting five that we thought we were going to have yet. You know what I mean? So we need their contribution, and we need them to be a factor and impact games as much as possible. This is early. This is while they're still learning. The only way that they can get through this is if they don't have the complete awareness of everything, because then they would be fearful. The fact that they can play with a little more young, jovial energy and not be really caught up in knowing how serious this situation is. These first 25 games are the most important. They are the season. Our first 25 games are the season to us. If we can leave that 16-9, 15-10, even 14-11 or 13-12, we're good. We're good. We're in a good space going forward. We're playoff bound because this is the toughest part. The first third of the toughest part, and we're starting it off with the depleted starting five and a young, very, very young bench. So we need them. We need their production. You know what I mean? And Tonight, I want to see, like, tonight is going to tell me a lot. You know what I mean? Like, it's not so much they have to hold each other accountable or anything like that, but I want to see if they're aware of their importance. It's one thing to play and know that the team needs you, but they don't know to what extent, really. You know what I mean? We really need them to produce. Like, there's a concern now because we don't know when RJ is going to play and when Quickly is going to play and how long they're going to get back into the groove and when Kelly Olynyk is going to play. You know what I mean? We can't have the injury bug creep up on us now any more than it already has anyway. We have to gain momentum as far as production. And we got to stay above 500 or close to 500 or on 500 at the least. Right now we lost. We lost in Minnesota. We don't want to lose again and start a losing streak. We don't want that energy because these are young players and that'll impact them differently, especially if they're coming into our situation not really used to having losing streaks, which a lot of college kids who get to the NBA don't really experience a lot of losing streaks on their way into the league. Losing in the NBA is the first time they really experience habitual losing, and it bothers them. It's hard to bounce back from. It's a tough experience. We need them. We don't want them to get into, being mentally aware of the losing streak and how they play a factor in the whole nine. Like we want to keep them productive and keep them in a positive space. We really need them tonight is important to me. Tonight is important to me. You know what I mean? Let's see if they have the presence, if they understand the pressure of the situation. I just want to know, this will show me where they are from a mental standpoint. Because physically they're going to compete because they're athletes. But mentally being aware of your significance and your situation and then competing, knowing that, it's a different space. Because we need to be in the playoffs. And I don't want it to be an uphill battle when Quickly and RJ come back. You know what I mean? We would love to have them healthy right now, but the real situation is we're gonna have to wait. And in between that time, we're gonna have to play with who we got. But we do have a good enough bench to tread water and to survive the moment. You know what I mean? I want to see what we do tonight. We know that Denver's going to be hungry. We know that Denver, who's the second seed in the West last year, who had a disappointing playoffs, is our second opponent after playing against the third seed in the conference, Western Conference final appearance, having Timberwolves, who are trying to take their next step after, and especially after trading Cat. They need all their wins as well. Like everybody we're playing against, the first third of the season is important to everybody. The guys who need to position themselves and the teams that want to position themselves in a better space than expected. Some teams are expecting to be top 5. Timberwolves are expecting that. Nuggets are expecting that. And we got both of them back to back. They're healthy. You know what I mean? So I want to see what we do tonight. I want to see how they impact the game. I want to see from a numerical standpoint, I want to cut back on the turnovers. You know what I mean? I want our turnovers to be no more than 16 and to keep the turnover points lower than 14. You know what I mean? We got it. Even when we turn the ball over, we can't have them result in buckets or threes. You know what I mean? We have to get back. So I want to see how this all works out. And I'm looking at the bench. Like, that's my emphasis all this season is the bench. Because the bench is going to be important to us going into the future. We know what our starting 5 is going to be. But the bench production is going to be very important to us ascending to the next level. Tell me what you think in the comments section. I'm interested. I want to see how I'm not worried about what Scotty is doing so much. Unless it looks subpar numerically. I'm really focusing on what the bench does. It's very important. This, especially early. The first 25 games, every game is important. I want to see what we look like tonight. Tell me what you think in the comment section. Hit that like button if you're new. Tell me what you think. I'm not so much concerned. I'm interested. I was excited going into that Timberwolves game, but I forgot how the referees get because they didn't really do it to us. We were coming off of a 99 free throw game, which we won. And then we're going to Minnesota. I was, yeah, you know what I mean? It gets a little funny. And I forgot it gets funny in Minnesota. So they're learning. They're definitely going to find out. One way or another, they're going to find out. But I want to see how they bounce back tonight. That's important to me. I'm going to holler at y'all. Peace.